Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Today, I will read a gentle and emotional story for you. Please relax and listen quietly. The words are simple and clear. This story will help you improve your English listening. It will also touch your heart. Let us begin the story. I didn't wake up one day and decide to change my life. It didn't happen like that. There was no motivation, no big speech, no sudden inspiration, just a quiet realization. I was 24 years old, and I felt completely lost. Not the kind of lost where you don't know what to do, but the kind where you know what to do and you still don't do it. My days looked the same. Wake up late, scroll my phone, waste hours without noticing. Tell myself I'll start tomorrow, and then do it all over again. I wasn't failing loudly. I was failing silently. No one noticed. No one said anything. From the outside, everything looked fine. But inside, I knew the truth. I was not growing. I was not improving. I was just existing. And the worst part? I had potential. I knew I did. That's what made it painful. One night, I was lying in bed, scrolling through my phone, watching other people succeed, people my age, building something, becoming something. And I felt it, that uncomfortable feeling in my chest. Not jealousy, not exactly. It was something deeper, regret. Not for what I did, but for what I didn't do. I closed my phone, and for the first time in a long time, I didn't distract myself. I just sat there, in silence, with my thoughts. And that's when it hit me. Nothing in my life will change if I don't change. It sounds simple, but in that moment, it felt heavy, because it meant one thing. I was responsible. Not my situation, not my past, not my luck, me. And that realization was uncomfortable, but powerful. The next morning, nothing magical happened. I didn't wake up early. I didn't feel motivated. I didn't suddenly become productive. But something inside me was different. I was aware. And awareness is where change begins. That day, I didn't try to fix my whole life. I didn't make big plans. I didn't set unrealistic goals. I did something small. I made my bed. That's it. It sounds stupid, too simple, too basic. But for me, it was a start. Because for the first time, I did something I didn't feel like doing. And that matters. More than motivation, more than planning. Action. Even small action changes something inside you. That one small task didn't change my life, but it changed my direction, and sometimes that's all you need. The next day, I did it again, made my bed. Then I added one more thing. I went for a short walk. Nothing intense, no pressure, just movement. Slowly, day by day, I started building something. Not success, not perfection, habits. And I didn't realize it yet, but those small habits were about to change everything. Because self-improvement is not one big decision. It's a series of small choices, repeated daily. And I had just made my first one. I wish I could say it got easier after that. It didn't. Making my bed, going for a walk, those were small things, simple things, but even those felt hard some days. Not because they were difficult, but because my mind kept resisting. Skip today. You can do it tomorrow. It doesn't matter. That voice was always there, soft, convincing, dangerous. And I started noticing something. The real problem wasn't my life, it was my habits. The way I spent my time, the way I avoided effort, the way I chose comfort over growth. That's when I made another small decision. No phone for the first hour after waking. Sounds easy. It wasn't. The first morning, I picked up my phone without thinking, scrolled, wasted 20 minutes, then suddenly realized I had already failed. That old feeling came back. Guilt, frustration. See, you can't even do this. But this time, I didn't quit. That was the difference. Before, one mistake meant giving up. Now, it meant trying again. The next morning, I tried again. This time, I kept my phone away, sat on my bed, did nothing, and it felt uncomfortable. Silence is strange when you're not used to it. My mind started racing. Thoughts I had been avoiding started showing up. What am I doing with my life? Why am I so inconsistent? Why can't I stay disciplined? I wanted to escape, to grab my phone, to distract myself, but I didn't. And slowly, something changed. That discomfort turned into clarity. I started seeing my patterns clearly, honestly. I wasn't lazy. I was addicted to comfort. I wasn't unmotivated. I was undisciplined. That realization hit hard, but it was necessary because you can't improve yourself if you lie to yourself. So I stopped lying. I started being honest about everything. When I wasted time, I admitted it. When I avoided work, I accepted it. When I made excuses, I noticed them. And awareness started turning into control. Not perfect control, not instant change, but progress. I added one more habit, reading, just 10 minutes a day. That's all. At first, I couldn't focus. My mind kept drifting. I wanted to quit after 2 minutes, but I stayed because I made a rule. Finish what you start, even if it's small, even if it's boring, even if you don't feel like it. And slowly, that rule started changing me. I became someone who finishes things, and that feeling is powerful. Days turned into a week, then 2, then 3. Nothing big had changed yet. No success, no results, but something inside me was stronger. I had more control over my actions, more awareness of my habits, more discipline than before. And then something unexpected happened. I failed again. One day, I woke up late, skipped everything. No routine, no habits, just old patterns. And for a moment, I felt like I was back at the beginning. But this time, it felt different. Before, I would have given up, told myself it's over, gone back to my old life. But now, I couldn't, because I had seen a better version of myself. And once you see that version, you can't unsee it. So instead of quitting, I reset. The next day, I started again. Simple, small, made my bed, went for a walk, no phone, read 10 minutes. Nothing fancy, nothing perfect, just consistent. And that's when I learned something important. Self-improvement is not about being perfect. It's about returning every time you fall. That's the real difference. Not who never fails, but who never stays down. And slowly, I was becoming that person. Confidence doesn't appear suddenly. It doesn't come from motivation or from watching videos or from thinking positive thoughts. It builds quietly, slowly, through action. At first, I thought confidence was something you either have or you don't. Some people are just born confident, I used to believe. But I was wrong. Confidence is built, and it's built in moments most people ignore. It started with small promises, very small ones. Wake up on time, make my bed, go for a walk, read for 10 minutes. None of these things made me feel confident immediately. In fact, most days I didn't feel anything, just neutral. But something was happening underneath. Every time I did what I said I would do, I was sending a message to myself. I can trust myself. And that's where confidence begins. Not in how you look, not in what others think, but in how much you trust yourself. Before, I didn't trust myself at all. I made plans and broke them, set goals and ignored them, said, I'll start tomorrow, and didn't. So even if I tried to act confident, deep down, I knew the truth. I couldn't rely on myself, and that destroys confidence. But now, every small action started rebuilding that trust, slowly, quietly. One completed task, one kept promise, one disciplined choice at a time. It wasn't visible at first. No one noticed. There was no big transformation. But inside, something was growing. I started speaking a little more clearly, standing a little straighter, thinking a little less about what others might say, not because I forced confidence, but because I earned it. That's the part people don't understand. You don't fake confidence, you build it. And you build it by doing things that are slightly uncomfortable. Waking up when you don't feel like it, finishing something when you want to quit, saying no when it's easier to say yes. Each time you do that, you prove something to yourself. I can handle discomfort. And once you believe that, fear starts losing its power. I remember one moment clearly. I was sitting in a group, and normally I would stay quiet, overthinking everything. What if I say something wrong? What if they judge me? But that day, I spoke. Not perfectly, not confidently, but I spoke anyway, and nothing bad happened. That moment was small, but it mattered because it broke a pattern. Confidence doesn't come from never feeling fear. It comes from acting, even when fear is there. And the more you do that, the easier it becomes. You stop waiting to feel ready, you start moving anyway. And that's when your whole mindset changes. You stop asking, can I do this? And start saying, I'll figure it out. That shift is confidence. It's not loud, it's not arrogant, it's quiet, calm, stable. It's knowing that even if things go wrong, you won't fall apart because you've already proven to yourself that you can handle hard things. And that kind of confidence can't be taken away by anyone. At first, nothing around me changed. Same city, same people, same routine. But I was different. And that's when opportunities started appearing. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but quietly. It started with small things, a chance to help someone with a task, an opportunity to speak in a group, a moment where I could either step forward or stay back. Before, I would have stayed back, avoided it, overthought it. But now, I started saying yes. Not because I was fully confident, but because I trusted myself enough to try. That changed everything. One day, someone at work asked, "Can you handle this?" It wasn't a big task, but it required responsibility, focus, consistency. The old me would have said, "I'll try," or made an excuse. But this time, I said yes. And I meant it. I worked on it every day, even when I didn't feel like it, even when it was boring, even when no one was watching. And when it was done, it wasn't perfect, but it was real. And people noticed. Not in a loud way, not with applause, but with respect. More tasks started coming, more responsibility, more chances to prove myself. That's when I understood something powerful. Opportunities don't come to you when you're ready. They come when you're reliable. When people see that you show up, that you finish what you start, that you don't run away when things get hard, That's when doors begin to open. Outside of work, things started changing too. I started meeting new people, talking more, listening better, understanding others and myself. Conversations became easier, not because I became perfect, but because I stopped trying to impress. I was just real, and people connect with real. One evening, someone said something that stayed with me. "You've changed." Not in a negative way, not with judgment, but with respect. And for a moment, I smiled. Because they were right. I had changed. Not overnight, not magically, but through small, consistent actions. The kind no one sees, the kind that feel boring, the kind most people skip. That's where real growth happens. And slowly, life started giving back. More clarity, more direction, more purpose. I started setting goals, not unrealistic ones, not change my life in 1 week goals, real ones, things I could work on daily, things I could control. And for the first time, I wasn't just dreaming about a better life, I was building it, one step at a time. That's when I realized something important. Self-improvement doesn't just change you, it changes what comes into your life. Because when you grow, your standards grow, your mindset grows, your actions grow, and your environment starts to match that. Better people, better habits, better opportunities. Not because you got lucky, but because you became ready. And that's the part most people miss. They wait for the right moment, the right chance, the perfect opportunity. But the truth is, you become the person who deserves those opportunities, and then they come. Not all at once, not perfectly, but enough to move forward. And once that starts, there's no going back. Because now you've seen what's possible, and that changes everything. In the end, nothing about my life looked extraordinary from the outside. I didn't become famous. I didn't suddenly achieve everything. There was no dramatic overnight success. But something far more important happened. I became someone I could respect. I no longer woke up feeling lost. I no longer avoided my own thoughts. I no longer needed distractions to escape my life. Because I wasn't trying to escape anymore. I was finally living it. And the truth is, that change didn't come from one big decision. It came from hundreds of small ones. The days I didn't feel like it but still showed up. The moments I wanted to quit but didn't. The times I failed but chose to start again. That's what built me. Not motivation, not inspiration, but consistency. I used to think self-improvement was about becoming perfect. Now I know it's about becoming real. Real with your habits, real with your effort, real with your excuses. Because the moment you stop lying to yourself is the moment your life starts changing. I'm not the best version of myself yet. Maybe I never will be. But I'm not the person I used to be. And that means everything. If I could say one thing to the person I was before, the one who felt stuck, lost, and tired, I would say this: start small, stay consistent, and don't quit on yourself. Because you don't need to change your whole life in one day. You just need to change your direction. And once you do that, even slowly, even imperfectly, you'll look back one day and realize you didn't just improve your life, you rebuilt yourself. And that is the real success.